If 84 was the low in Ethereum, MakerDao might be one of the biggest banks in the world within a couple years. But if Ethereum falls through 80, this thing could unravel and create a big mess. I've got a lot to talk to. I was making almost 10 videos a month, and I told you how I stopped doing that. I was going to, because I'm focusing on creating a course to teach kids about money, not so that I can make money, just to have it in schools. Whole nother story. But a lot has happened, and I have 10 videos of information in my head right now I'm going to drop on you. Save this video. Get some time to sit down and listen to all of it. It's not in order of importance per se. There's a lot of valuable info here. Put time aside to listen to it, please. So, first of all, I'm going to talk about portfolio. I've had some changes. I now say Bitcoin 55%, Ethereum 25%, XLM 15%, and others 5%. Let me dive into that a little bit. So Bitcoin, I'm saying today 55%. As we get more evidence that Ethereum has bottomed, I would bring it to 50% and Ethereum up to 30%. I don't know yet that Ethereum has bottomed. Might have. We'll talk about that too. And XLM, we're going to talk about that as well. But I still love the long-term story. But, you know, Ethereum is here today. Bitcoin is running with it. XLM, we're going to get into it, but it might be a longer story than I'd like to enjoy right now, right? What have you done for me lately? Now, others, if the market has bottomed, for the next run, tokens that work might be okay. Maker, we're going to talk about that. OMG. Do I even want to get into these? I tell you what, because I don't want to bore with this minutia, I'm going to stick it in my notes here. I'm going to get to this at the end. I'll go through all of these tokens, my thoughts. There's a lot on that. I don't want to do that this minute because let's fry the bigger fish. These are the little guys that will run along on the next parabolic move, but has that started? So let's get into it here. What are we starting with? Am I starting with this? Okay, this chart, can I make this bigger? Hello, why don't we see it normally? Why is it all like that? There we go. Okay, this is the issuance chart on tokens released. This is the amount of tokens issued per year for Ethereum versus Bitcoin. Ethereum, you can see here, was issuing 18% more coins each year. Why is my lighting so bad? The sun moved and ruined my lights. I know everyone wants to see my face brightly. Is that better? No, that's worse. Whatever. Okay. So, Ethereum's issuance rate has been coming down. Where are we now? So Constantinople looks like it is going to launch here, and that's going to drop the amount of new tokens created on Ethereum all the way down to almost around near where Bitcoin is. But you know what the bigger story is? The bigger story is usage of tokens on the network, locking up tokens. And we're going to dig into that because, you know, people are locking up Bitcoins on the Lightning Network, and people are locking up Ethereum in MakerDao. We're gonna in MakerDao too. So the point I want, if everything I say is we're gonna get to, we're never gonna get to anything, right? But anyways, the bottom line is Ethereum's issuance. You know, the Bitcoin's one of their biggest selling point is that, you know, they've got this tight and known monetary supply. So Ethereum's monetary supply is looking tight. And just one thing I want to mention, which is just because we don't know what Ethereum's long-term monetary policy is, doesn't mean it's going to be bad. Remember, it's not centrally controlled. And so any monetary policy has to be agreed to by everyone. And so there's not going to be some crazy inflation so they can print and give it to Vitalik, who doesn't even like Lambos, right? So I like this. Now, keep in mind, so this is Constantinople upgrade coming in January. It looks like it's on schedule, but it was delayed from November, right? They had problems in November. And so the rest of this chart you know, the Bitcoin chart, right, is pretty easy, and you know it's going to do that. The Ethereum chart is not is more anything could happen kind of thing. So what I want to talk about, let's see, we talked about that. I got a lot of notes here just because. Okay. So we're going to talk about locking up. So the first thing here is this, with proof of stake coming. Now, proof of stake is one of these things. It's been worked on for a long time. It's been delayed, and with all these things, bottom line is this. I think proof of stake will work. The reason I think it will work is because proof of work is proof of stake. And what does that mean? Because when I was trying to conceptualize proof of work, the way I understand it is you do work solving these math puzzles to prove you have a stake in the system. In order to screw the system, you have to assemble so many computers to attack it with so much value, and you'll be making hopefully making profits, that you become ensconced into the system. You become part of the system, and the computers show you have a stake in the system. Proof of stake is saying, well, you don't have to do computer work. You just stake your token, which has value. And these tokens do have value. And so we can do that. Now, Satoshi Nakamoto, God bless whoever that is, but they didn't have he didn't have an option, she didn't have, whatever. Satoshi Nakamoto did not have an option of staking tokens because they didn't exist. And if Satoshi rises from the darkness of disappearance, if Satoshi talked, I wonder what, anyways, I think, yeah, I'm speaking for Satoshi Nakamoto, right? But what I believe is that proof of stake can work because proof of work really is just showing you have a stake, and this will suck up supply. January reduction, we saw that the Constantinople. They want to do some other thing with ASICs. Bottom line is, I think proof of stake is coming. That's one use. That's one thing that will reduce. So there's two things here. So here, they're going to reduce the amount of new tokens they issue, but as proof of stake comes online, when you stake your tokens, you're locking them up, you're sort of taking tokens out of the economy, right? It's sort of the opposite of issuance. Granted, they're still there, but if they're locked up in the system as proof of stake, that reduces their supply in a way, right? And that's what I want to talk about, is locking up tokens as a use case to do the opposite of issuance. So even if issuance is bigger on Ethereum, if they're locking up more of their tokens, then in a sense their supply is smaller. So first, this thing here, my thing doesn't show. Okay, so this is, let's just start with the granddaddy. Actually, before I do, just so I can show you something here, okay? This, the purple here is Augur locking up tokens. You can see they had about 1,000 in the first month, and now they're at about 10,000 locked up. 12, right? That's Augur. Compound in the first month locked up like 10,000. Now they're at 25,000. That's in October, November, December. In 3 months, locked up 25,000. Okay. DXY, I got two here. DXY started out sort of 50 and then has jumped to sort of 500, sort of flat. Well, we're up to 1,000. So this is a slower, well, it's 2 months, right? I mean, I don't know if these all maintain this growth rate. They're all going to be huge. But this was less of a start than this, right? Because look at this was immediately at 10, whereas DXY is sort of not immediately at 1,000. So I would be less excited about it. Granted, it could still be big. I don't know. Uniswap just launched, and in about a month we're at 1,000. You know, now. So keep in mind, at 1,000, Augur, first month, at 1,000. So we'll see here. But you know what I left out? So here's Augur, was the biggest. Let's put all these on. God, why is it not? There we go. Oh, DXY is gray, so I keep thinking it's... Okay, so this is all of the ones I just showed you, up to a total of 40,000 Ether locked up. Now, this is what happens when I add in Maker. These are all the other guys up here. 40. Remember 40? Maker's at 1,800 locked up. It's not just 1,800 locked up. It's look at the growth rate. This thing launched in the first month was at about 30,000, right? 300x increase. We're at 300,000 here a few months later. 1,000 locked up is a few months. I mean, look at the growth rate. Look at how much locked up. Now, so let me just, I'll follow my note. I have so much to say about this. I don't want to get too locked. I'm erasing things as I say them so that I won't miss anything. We did this. Okay. Okay, now I'm skipping here to something else because let's look at one other. That's what we're doing. Bitcoin. Bitcoin is being locked on the Lightning Network. How many is this? So it's locking up here is 18,000, right? Remember, all of those small non-MakerDAO ones locked up to 40. This is 18, but Bitcoin's a much higher price. So, geez, I did some math on this. Can we find it? Well, I wonder if this would be interesting. This is math I didn't do. So let's see if we can pull up a calculator, and let's just do this right now. Okay. So if Bitcoin has whatever this is, 16,000. So let's do 16,000 times, let's say Bitcoin's at 4,000. That's a total of 64 million locked up. Did I do that right? Let's just, so there's 16,000. Number of open channels is 16,000. What am I doing here? Channel value is 461,000. Where is that? Oh, is that over? That's over here. Okay, interesting. I had my numbers wrong. So let's see. And so that is the green line. Okay, so the green line is how much collateral is locked up. And look at this jump. Now, one negative on this, I read somewhere that's like, this is like one person who just put all this on, right? So I don't like to see that because if it doesn't work for that person, it comes right back to here, right? But nevertheless, the trend is the trend. If we take this optimistic number here, 460,000, or is it 460? Oh boy, hold on a second. No, it's just 460. It's not 460,000. Okay, 460 times 4,000. Oh my God, 4,000. I didn't hit the times. 460. Total value of we're almost at 2 million. That's what I remember hearing. So that's 2 million. Where are we here with these guys? MakerDAO is, I believe, 270 million. Okay, let me just repeat. So MakerDAO, 1,800,000 times 150 is 270 million. If my numbers are wrong on any of this, like I can't go look this up in a book, please let me know. I understand first you go 10 minutes of how stupid I am. I get it all. I know I'm stupid. Thank you. But just let me know the number. My calculations, 1,800 times 150, sorry, 1,800,000 times 150 is 270 million. That means Maker has 270 million Ether, $270 million worth of Ether locked up, and Bitcoin only has 2 million locked up. But this is fine, and I still love Bitcoin. I'm going to go on about Ethereum and MakerDAO, but Bitcoin will run with it, and Bitcoin will be collateral in Maker. And I'll get to that in a minute. I know you love how I keep saying I'll get to it, but I will. So we talked about that. And then one thing I'm curious here, just for shits and giggles, what did we say? 40, if it's 40,000, okay, let's just see this. If we compare all the non-makers, is 40,000 times 150 and we are at 6 million. So there's 3 small guys locking up on Ethereum, and there's more coming. Have $6 million worth locked up. And again, Lightning Network only has 2 million. Now, listen, I am not saying Lightning Network will not have explosive growth or be huge. And let's remember, why am I saying Bitcoin 50%, right? I'm not trashing Bitcoin. I'm saying buy Bitcoin, you morons, if you don't own any already. But what I'm also saying with it's still a little more risky, which is why it's a lower percent. But right now, boy, am I bullish on Ethereum. Okay, so where was I? So that was... So, Lightning Network. You know, I just thought of something that I want to mention when I get to Bitcoin. Bitcoin as gold. We're going to talk about that. When I get to Bitcoin, I'm going to go through it. But anyways, let's see. We did this. We did that. Okay. I even had in a note. More Bitcoin later. Okay. And so, and we've gone through this. Fabulous. We did that. One other thing here. Well, 2 things. I got 2 articles here that I think, first of all, oh, this isn't the right one. Maker for Dummies Part 2, I think is what it is, on Medium. Okay, and I love this first sentence here. Maker for Dummies Part 2. Okay, I lied. It's for smart people. Okay, and let me just tell you, I had to read this 3 times before I was like, okay, I think I can start trying to figure it out now. And I majored in economics years ago. I've been interested in this shit forever. I took a 1.5 years studying only crypto assets, and I had to read this 3 times before I could get started. Okay, so my suggestion, because this is, again, if Ethereum hasn't bottomed, this whole thing could unravel. I'm going to talk about that in a minute, but I don't think that, I think this thing is here to stay at this point. If you do think that, or if we get more evidence that Ethereum's bottom and this thing is here to stay, it's worth your time to read this. Who cares if you have to read it 10 times before you understand 3 paragraphs, right? Who cares? Instead of reading about Trump or watching, whatever entertainment TV show. Nothing against these things. I love entertainment, although the political entertainment, I think, is I'd rather you watch a Will Ferrell movie than listen to the news. But anyways, read this thing a few times. Start to understand it. And then there was another article here about Uniswap. That was the one that just launched as a trading system. This looks really interesting. And I don't know if I have in my notes here about what's also... Oh yeah, we are getting to how you're going to be able to lock up your tokens and earn money. And Uniswap is a way to earn money on it. Maker, you lock up your collateral in order to take out a loan. That's what's going really big. But there's also going to be a big market. I've got a whole section here I'm going to talk about how there will be many ways for you to lock up your money safely and earn, I don't know yet, we don't know, 3%, 7%, 5% per year on your money. Not huge, but it's a savings account with a real interest rate. Right? So what we have coming, okay, unless it all collapses very soon, what we have coming is MakerDao, post collateral, and borrow at a 0.5% interest rate. You can also take money and deposit it safely and earn an interest rate of 3 to 7%. This is the killer app of the next bubble. I'm not sure if the interest is a killer app yet, but it looks interesting. But borrowing at a 0.5% interest rate, this thing has the potential to blow up. So anyways, Uniswap is one where you can deposit and earn money as being part of a pool for trading. This thing is super interesting. This article is great in trying to understand it. And I don't know. This is interesting. And I think a good thing for those of you who are entrepreneurial, stop trading. You entrepreneurs, trading is stupid. Okay, just it's fucking dumb. I'm going to talk a little bit more. I'm going to talk about Tony Vays. I've been watching him a little bit. I'm gonna shake his apple cart a little bit, but also talk about trading. It's silly. Actually, I'm gonna skip ahead. I'm not gonna skip. I've got more to say. But what was I getting at with this? Uniswap. Oh, if you're entrepreneurial, try some of these things. For example, Augur. Buy some rep tokens. Don't buy a lot. It's just buy some so you have something, and then be one of the people who resolves bets at the end of the month. How much do you make? If it's a decent return, wasn't too difficult for you, you like it, then you buy more rep and become efficient at processing bets and holding rep. And if the thing works, you're earning income in an investment that grows. Now, I don't know about rep and if that's going to grow. I don't own any, but if I was entrepreneurial snooping around, I would look for that. And again, this Uniswap, I try to understand it, and maybe you create a pool, you stake some Ethereum, an OMG, something like that, that probably has a small thing, and you're part of the pool, and maybe that earns income. I would look into these ways to make money. For example, mining is an example of making money by helping the system, right? You do the mining and you're rewarded in Bitcoin. That's proof of work. There's going to be a lot of other ways to earn income other than mining. And mining, forget about mining, right? That's, unless you're a big corporation at this point who's been doing it for more than 5 years, you probably have no chance. Now I'm not going to get into mining. Okay, so that's that. Just a little fun here. MakerDao. Like I said, even if you're bored about this, I'm going to talk about Bitcoin. I'm going to talk about some people that I follow on Twitter and YouTube. I'm going to talk about XLM. Haven't forgotten about it, and other things. So if you get bored on some of my details here with Maker, hey, I don't think you should skip ahead, but stay with me. Okay. MakerDao. This is just a little bit of fun. Let's look at MakerDao and its growth rate. I'll make a long story short. If this thing keeps running, it could be how much capital? I think to be a big bank is 10 billion in capital. Not the too big to fail. Too big to fail, I think, and I couldn't find it. I looked and looked. I found a great chart of how much capital all the big banks hold. And I can't find it, and going from memory, I think the big banks have like 100 or 200 billion in capital, the too big to failers. But most others are sort of, I think it was 10 to 50 billion. I mean, the other big ones. And then I don't really know. If anyone has good data on that, share it in the comments. How much collateral, not loans, which they call assets, I believe, right? It's how much collateral, which is how much, whatever, I'm not going to explain collateral. But if you can share. But anyways, I think 10 billion is a decent sized bank. Maker, with these growth rates, and keep in mind, this is based on Ethereum at 150. If we've bought them, well, now Ethereum's at $1,000, and now you've got, let's say it triples again. I mean, it's already tripled how many times? Triples again from 2. You got, let's say you've got 6 million, right, locked up at $1,000. That's a $6 billion bank. But no office. It's just a fucking smart contract. Yeah. Strap on your seatbelts, ladies and gentlemen, because if Ethereum bottomed, woo, to the moon. Okay. And to all your Bitcoin maximalists who are hanging in there, I love Bitcoin. Okay? We'll get to it. How big is a big bank? We talked about that. Okay. Oh, and compound, by the way. This is kind of funny. Let's look at this. Now, I just turned off everything. Okay. Compound is you deposit money and earn interest, and they loan it out. I find it difficult to wrap my head around like what this is. I understand it's that, but how does it work? I haven't wrapped my head around it. But this is interesting, this thing here, and this is what led me to panic and see that Maker could unravel. So let's see if I can explain this. So somebody on Maker deposited Ethereum and borrowed DAI, and we're talking millions. I don't know how many. Something I could have looked up, but whatever. Locked up millions. We're talking, and we saw during the fall the decline in Ethereum. I mean, the brutal declines. No, we see collateral goes up. Oh, that's another thing. Did I have? Hold on. I don't know. I have to show that. Oh, I do have that somewhere. Okay. So, sorry, lost myself. Let's see if I can try to explain. Somebody had a lot of ether locked up, millions, and they had to keep adding, you know, either ether or DAI to lower their debt exposure, because once you hit the thing with Maker, if your collateral is less than 40% of your loan, you just get liquidated. And we saw several liquidations on Maker, and they handled it like people on Twitter follow this shit, and there's even a bot that follows, you know, at risk, $2 million, and these things, 2 million, 5 million liquidated, and it worked. I mean, granted, the price of Ethereum was going down like crazy. It may have fed into that for sure, but Maker and DAI still held steady. DAI, we're going to talk about, I do not use the term stable coins. Fucking stupid. We're talking about dollar pegged coins. There may be other pegs. I'm going to talk about that in a minute. But the point is, so this guy, so in order to stay alive, this guy who is at risk on Maker pledged collateral of his rep token on Compound in order to borrow DAI at like 15% interest rate. So the interest on DAI on Compound went up to 6%, and that's when Maker sort of had an emergency meeting to lower the interest rate to 0.5% because they needed to create more DAI. And if DAI appreciates in value and stays high, in other words, DAI is worth more than $1 for a prolonged period of time, that could cause a shutdown because it's not working. And a shutdown, they've never done a shutdown as far as I know. That sounds messy. Maybe Maker survives a shutdown. Probably do. But you got, you know, whatever your timeline is on Maker taking over the world, the biggest bank, one of the biggest banks in the world show that I'm touting here, well, that timeline is going to get a lot longer if they have to go through a shutdown. And so this shit scared me here. And this was where we had, I think that's the big fall. So that's December 2. Ethereum, find December 2. So here's December 2. And then we hit our low on December 14. So a good sign here is that I fucking panicked. I was like, what the, you know, Maker's like, we got to have a meeting and determine, you know, because I owned the tokens and we're supposed to vote and we may have to lower the interest rate. And I found out this why, and I'm like, holy shit. So I was doing a teeny loan just so I understand how this shit works. But even that small, I shouldn't say teeny, you know, a little loan. But I was like, fuck, I want to get out of this thing, and I liquidated. And so I was busy. I just reversed it, but I had to sell some Ethereum to do it. I didn't have to. I chose to sell some Ethereum to get out of this small Maker thing because I was panicking. Now, although that is stupid, it wasn't a lot of money. But it was panic, and that's good. That's a sign. That's one sign that we hit a bottom, because I sold some. Like, you know, I didn't really sell. I think I traded it to get DAI to pay off the DAI that I borrowed. Right. Bottom line is I was acting based on fear, which is good. I mean, it's not good for me. It's a good sign because then what happened? We doubled. One thing I say so. Travis Kling. You got to listen to this guy. Where is it? Okay. Off the chain. Pompliano. Fun guy. Do I still follow Mr. Pomp on Twitter? I think I do. Yeah, I do. He's fun. Pomp. So my Twitter here. I don't post much, but to see who I follow, I only follow experts, and I'm tough, okay? if you want to follow experts. So yeah, I do follow him. He's interesting. I'm not going to get into Pomp. Where was I? I was talking about Travis Kling. Ah, shoot. Okay, he's got Pomp has this show, podcast. I listen to. Listen to this. First of all, if you're still a fucking idiot trader, I'm sorry. Let's be nice. If you're an entrepreneur who's trying to turn entrepreneurial energy into investing, you're probably a trader, and just stop it. Okay, just cut it out. Pick a winner. That's going to be a winner in the long run, and hodl. Anyways, if though you're not listening to me, listen to Travis Kling. This guy knows his shit, and he talk. If you listen to this and you're still a trader, listen to what he says about what happens on BitMEX and how all you noobs are getting your lunch eaten. Okay, but anyways, the point is here when I listen to this, when Bitcoin bouncing off. Bitcoin, this floor that had Ethereum and Bitcoin, we just for a long time, for Bitcoin, it was the 5,800. And Travis around here said, this does not look like a bottom to me. He's like, if this is the bottom, he was talking about Bitcoin, if this is the bottom for Bitcoin, then all of my knowledge of trading, and this is not what bottoms look like. And I was like, oh shit, because I'm busy thinking it's a bottom. And sure enough, like 3 weeks later, the bottom fell out. What does a bottom look like? He hasn't been clear about that, and he did say, well, maybe we're at a bottom. I don't know, which is better than this doesn't look like a bottom, right? So, but one thing, I did a lot of research on some of these charts of history. What is the pattern? What's the fractal pattern that these things do? And one thing I noticed is, because I spent some time actually thinking, well, how will we know that the bottoms, what does the bottom look like? And I studied that. One thing, and I've been saying this for a while, is you can see, a typical bottom in crypto at least is, in less than a week up 100%, and then falls for a few days, almost 50%, and then we're off to the races. So what we had in Ethereum, we went from 84 to here 140, almost 100%, and that 100%, it can be 70% to 150% in a week. Like it's just some dramatic increase. So we hit, so this is from, in about a week, almost 100%. And then we've hit, up to 160. We're up 100% and it's holding. Had its fall and it's holding. It's looking good. So that's what I think a bottom looks like, but listen, we can go lower. We can go lower. I think that was the bottom, but I don't know. And believe me, don't bet based on thinking you're a trader. These fucking chartists. But I do look at charts. It is important. It's just the chart tells you what's happened in the past. It doesn't tell you what's going to happen in the future, but understanding the past is helpful. Okay, I'm not going to get too into that. So we talked about that. We talked about that. Right. We did that. So did I finish talking about Mr. Compound? That yeah, so the bottom line is, this guy who borrowed all this fucking DAI with his rep, and I was watching rep token and it was holding relatively steady. I was like, wow, I mean, this could be a mess. And I don't know that would be the straw that breaks the camel's back and then more liquidations, but it looks scary to me. And it held it was at one point, I think it hit 35 cents lower. And this guy was liquidated and fucking held it. And now, I don't know. All clear, right? For now. So that was very exciting. All right, are we going to that chart? I think, let's just go in order here. Okay, so that now I've been mentioning people to follow. By the way, I have this spreadsheet. I've shared the link. How do I share it? I'm going to put the link for you. in my, this is what I use to track what I'm going to watch and read. And this is for me. I don't save stuff. So I had a bunch of articles I read like, I don't know, for 10 hours the last 2 days. This is all I have left here. So this goes and disappears. My video, I just had a long drive. I was in the car a bunch. That's when I listened to and they've all erased. But it could fill up. There could be 10 videos and things to listen to. There can be lots of articles. So, but I use it when I read or I listen. I erase it immediately. I'm not saving it for you. Some things don't even make it to the list. But if you're interested, you can follow this. But this is my list of podcasts, type of things that that have great interviews frequently. And if I'm going on a long ride and I don't have that many videos, I scroll through and see who's talked lately on these podcasts. There can be good stuff there. So I'm going to save that. I'm going to put this in the description. I'll put a lot of stuff in the description under this video for you. Okay. So we did that. Yeah, and okay, yeah, we are getting to that. If you broke. So, again, have we hit bottom here? If we have, that means Maker's safe. The next bubble, this thing is going to be fueled by Maker. I mean, a lot of fuel. It might not be the only fuel. And we're going to talk about other things even happening on Ethereum, games and whatever. But anyways, this is the fuel, and it could get messy. And maybe after the next bubble, Maker has to deal with its governance shutdown. And at that point, I think it could be okay, because the other nightmare scenario I started thinking is, keep in mind, if Maker's unraveling and it have to do a shutdown, the shutdown is funded by selling the Maker token. So the Maker token's worth, whatever, it's like $500 per token. But it's, if the whole thing is shutting down, everyone's going to want to dump the Maker token too, right? So it's just a race to the bottom. Whereas if we do a whole bubble with Maker fueling it for a couple years, and then there's a shutdown and you got to sell Maker, there will be people who believe in Maker in the long run still and won't sell. So the price of Maker itself could be a decent source of funding to rescue the system. I'm not sure if that made the bottom. I don't know. If that didn't make sense, rewind and listen again. Or, I don't know. I don't want to get too bogged down in that. Now, another point. This is maybe off topic slightly, but let's see. Where are we here? So I spoke to somebody who... I think we're gonna talk about this next. Someone I listened to, really smart guy, and I've heard this a couple other people, but someone I really trust said it. We've all been talking about how institutions drive the next bubble. I think institutions will blow up the next bubble. In other words, they're going to pile on, add more fuel to this fire. But institutions will not find the bottom. In other words, New York Stock Exchange, Baakt. We're going to talk about that in a minute. They're delayed again. Fidelity. These guys, they're not going to start the bubble. Everyone on Wall Street doesn't want to be first. They want to be second. So when I heard that, I thought, oh, shoot. So how does this thing... So we have to hit a bottom organically. And we may have that with Ethereum based on usage of tokens outstripping the issuance. And then when the bottom is clearly in, now the big guys have a place to pile in. Fidelity and Baakt. And Baakt is just Bitcoin. Baakt is New York Stock Exchange. I just heard yesterday that Fidelity also is doing it for Ethereum. Boy, I mean, the good news on Ethereum, it won't stop. Okay. So, now I do have one piece of not good news, believe it or not. Another thing that scares me. So I like to look at, so what are we looking at here? Where is so this is DAI supply. This is where am I talking about dollar peg? let's move this up in my list. Talk about it now while we're here. So first of all, there are, maybe you've heard in the news, stable coins. Everybody calls them stable coins. This is not stable. What it is there are US dollar pegged coins. In other words, there are coins that are worth $1 and the price is supposed to stay at $1. And there's basically 3 ways to do it. There's really 2. There is a third that some people still believe in, which is they're just going to buy and sell tokens in order for it to maintain $1, and they're going to print when they need more and take them out, and this isn't going to work. And one of them, Basis, already went closed. I don't think that can work. The other is US dollar backed. In other words, they have Coinbase has whatever they have, whatever theirs is called, I don't know, and like Tether, most of what they do is they say we issued $1 million priced coins and we have $1 million in our bank to back it. And almost all of these, they do have the dollars. Problem with that system is they have to go through government regulations, which may or may not be fine, but it's just going to slow down development. DAI is the only that I'm aware of, the only one. If there are others, they're very, very small. And whatever. But so DAI is the only one that is truly decentralized and not regulated. It won't be regulated because it's just a peg based on Ethereum and eventually Bitcoin collateral coming to Maker. Talk about that in a minute. So the DAI token is one DAI token equals $1. It's truly decentralized. It's growing. This is in the year. Started at 10 million. DAI, we're up to 70 million, and this I'm not as familiar with. Like a lot of people, there's a lot of projects trying to incorporate DAI. If you're going to have a spending wallet kind of scenario, you want to use a token that can just be used anywhere in the world. You may want to do that with DAI. If DAI is another app that if this takes off, that sucks up more collateral. The only way to create DAI is to post Ethereum collateral. There will be other collaterals coming. Multi-collateral DAI is coming. Bitcoin's probably next. I think we'll talk about that in a minute. So I'm sorry. Did I say we'll talk about it in a minute? What I meant is we'll talk about it now. BTC. So I've skipped we're going to what are we doing? Okay, WBTC. That was an article. We're not in order. Here it is. So they have said, what is this? On track for mid-January. There were articles in October saying it will launch in January. I found this article in December. It's going to launch in January. It's January. I don't know. Is it going to launch now? I don't know. It's probably delayed a month or two, the way things usually are. But it's coming. Oh, so just so you know, WBTC, W is wrapped. You may see WETH, which is MakerDao, which is built on Ethereum. But in order to lock up your Ethereum, you have to wrap it. It's some sort of technology thing. So you have wrapped Ether is the collateral you post. And so they're creating wrapped Bitcoin, which basically brings Bitcoin to Ethereum. I think it makes it like an ERC20, and it's, listen, bottom line is in order for Bitcoin and even Ethereum to work as collateral in Maker, it has to be wrapped in something. So wrapped Bitcoin is coming. And then, so when is it launching? Maybe January. Well, as soon as it launches, that means it's going to be available on MakerDao that you can post it as collateral? Probably not. Then how long after that? I don't know. I'm hoping within 6 months you can post Bitcoin as collateral in Maker. I don't know the timeline, and Maker upgrading. There's a lot of moving parts here. Could move really fast. Maybe not. Don't know. But that's big. This is the use case, we were talking about, where did we begin? Here, of how Ethereum's ace in the hole, although they're issuing more tokens than Bitcoin, they're locking up more than Bitcoin. But Bitcoin is locking them up too, a little bit on Lightning Network so far, but growth rate looks good. But wrapping Bitcoin and putting it into Ethereum, will lock up Bitcoin as well. So we were at the Maker Tools. So that's DAI. Okay. Oh, I told you I had something that was actually negative. Remember that? And I forgot to show you. See if I can find it. This page looks different. Something is not what I'm looking for. How much, watching the collateral. Oh, it's behind my head. So this here is how much collateral, and I watched this. The ratio. So this is interesting here. Let's blow this one up. So this is the percentage. So if you need to lock up $150 worth of Ethereum to take out 100 DAI or $100. I think that comes out to about 40%, right? 40% collateral on your dollars. So, but if you only lock up $150 and take out $100, and then Ethereum goes down by 1%, you get liquidated. So people will take out more. Maybe, and I think, so if it says this is is 250% mean $250 and you take out 100 DAI? Maybe. I didn't think through this math, and I'm not going to try to think math right now. So, but the bottom line is the amount of collateral. Look at the chart. Oh, that's 3 months. I wanted longer. A year. Let's do all. One thing I noticed is, oh, you get these peaks in collateral. It's a lot, 500% collateral. This one, 428. And where, I can't see the end of this. Why is it? Wait, is that? No, where's January? Can I? Strange. Why can't we see January? Well, let's do it this way. No. Okay, getting closer. Well, we're at a high now with collateral. You know what I can do? Okay, bottom line is this. I did a little research, and peaks in collateral coincide with a price decline. And someone said the reason for this, someone that I trust, says, well, most of the use case is that people lock up Ether in order to get DAI to buy more Ether. It's basically leveraged Ether. And when the price goes up, they sell their leverage. And so then the price goes down. I don't know that it happened twice. You know what I mean? We have such short history. Or maybe there was kind of three. I think this was also a price sort of peak. And we are currently at a peak. We're at 400, which is high. For some reason, it wasn't showing January on that chart. But I can tell you 250 was, well, we can go back. Because now we can see we're at 400%. And we can see here. Here's a year. Oh my God, killing me. Let's just do all. You can see, so 400 is this line, that's high, right? 400 is high, and we're at 400 now. So collateral is at a high, which historically says we're going to have a price fall. But it could also be that this time it went up and everyone's not like, okay. In other words, people sold, they thought it was going to go down, and they just cashed in, Maybe this time people aren't cashing in. So I don't want to fall. This is one piece, though, is that the trend is not our friend the way this has been in the past. So, and again, Ethereum, oh my God, where's my chart? You know, Ethereum's had a big run here, and if we're not at the bottom, I mean, let's look at this thing long term. Like I said, here's a big fall. It doesn't look as dramatic against all this. Could it go down again? Let's look. You know, we were here and we did this. Can we go lower? Yes, we can. Sorry to say, can be scary. So this is the one piece of scary news. Was that collateral, wherever that is. This collateral being a high. Okay, great. Okay, another thing about DAI I wanted to mention. You know, so how much dollar tokens could there be? Well, Tether, you know, last year was at 2 billion, but Tether was the whole market for dollar-pegged coins at one point. Tether was the only one. And there was about $2 billion worth. Now, they're losing market share to all these others, and DAI right now is only 70 million. But whoever wins, and I think DAI has a good chance of winning the dollar-pegged coin race, whoever wins, and again, once we've bottomed, we're, 2 billion is small. This thing's got a long runway. And one other point. If DAI has 2 billion issued, that means we might have $5 billion worth in collateral to back it. I don't know where I got that number, if I did my math right, but whatever it is, the only way to create DAI is to lock up Ether. Soon Bitcoin too, and maybe others, but anyways, as of now, it's just Ether. And so if DAI booms, you're locking up a lot more Ether. Okay. Have I mentioned enough things that are exciting? Well, there's more. Stay tuned. It's almost an hour. Oh boy. And I got BTC coming. I've got XLM coming. And then a few other things. Holy crap. Like I said, save the video, bookmark it. And also, if this is valuable, I think this is valuable. This is interesting. People should be looking into this. Whether it all crashes or doesn't, there's lessons to be learned here. Share on social media, please. Okay. The other thing that is interesting, wait, I think I talked about this. Interest on savings. So, yeah, I talked about it. How you can lock up tokens and earn interest. We went through that. Okay. Now we're going to get to BTC, Bitcoin. A lot to talk about. So here's the thing, guys. I love the Bitcoin maximalist. I love Bitcoin, okay? And Bitcoin is going a lot higher. Let me just put it this way, okay? So Bitcoin's thing is like trust and security on many levels. And they are the kings of that and probably will be for a while. That gives them, so gold, in the current economic system, and I'm curious of this, gold market cap. Oh, I know, there's a great graphic. All money market cap. Let's just see if I get lucky and find what I'm looking for here. Well, this one's not bad. Is this what I saw before? I saw a different one, but this one looks good. Yeah, okay. So let's just open that up. Okay. So here is market cap. Let's open it up more. Market caps of monies. Market cap gold, it's not really 8 trillion because a lot of gold is actually used in its jewelry. Just gold being held like as with banks or as a store of value investment, it's only like 2.3 trillion. Did I just say only 2.3 trillion? Well, compared to all money, stock market 66, physical money 31. They got the one I saw showed real estate, bonds. There's a lot of stuff. This is, yeah. I'd like to find the other one. Let me just. Well, okay. I'll just make my point, which is gold is a fly on the ass of a hippo in the existing fiat world, right? At 2.3 trillion in a market that's 100 trillion or more. Okay? But in crypto, 2.3 trillion, Bitcoin's market cap, let's guess. I'm guessing like 83 billion. Bitcoin, 71 billion. So how many times does 71 go into 2? Let's say it just got, I don't know, whatever it is. Bitcoin goes a lot higher if all it does is grab the safe, secure, sort of the gold store of value market. It goes a lot higher just on that. And there's other things, and there's other applications, blah, blah, blah. So, okay. Shoot, where was I? I wonder if I should start. I didn't want to close my screens because then I'm going to lose it. And I just skipped ahead. Oh, gold. So Bitcoin grabs a gold market. I'm not sure where I was going with that, but I made my point, so there you go. So now, Safedine Amos. I recommend, again, the Bitcoin Standard book. I've talked about it a number of times. You have to read it. And the thing with Bitcoin, you know, they got all the economists and hard money, and it's so interesting, and I love it. And a lot of their stuff is true. Where I think they're getting their panties in a knot is over this idea that, you know, it's true, hard money wins in the long run, but don't forget, long run 100 years, long run 200 years, like, I don't care. I think in the long run, 5, 10 years long run, okay? Maybe 20. I'll wait 20 for some things. I'm not waiting 200 years for hard money to play out. And also, what's hard money? So if I go to, when I go to Serbia, I get some fucking piece of paper they call money. What is that? Is that a store of value? No, it's not, but I'm there. I got to use it. I don't know. I use it and I get rid of it. Like, but it has some value. Like, not everything has disappeared. The idea there's going to be one money, yeah, we got dollar, euro, but there's still a lot of others. Like, there's not going to be only Bitcoin. It's just not going to end. And I understand the 80-20 rule may happen, that the base layer will have 80% of its value, and that will be one winner. And maybe that is Bitcoin. And maybe 200 years from now, my great-great-great-grandchild will watch this video and say, he was right. But don't give a shit about 200 years from now. So anyways, but why am I bringing him up? Just, you know, the Bitcoin, you know, because when I had Safedine on my show, you know, I asked about Ethereum, and he's like, it's stupid. You know, they're all saying it's going to zero. It's not going to zero. Okay, if it falls below 80 and Maker just unravels, you know, it's still not going to zero. I think, just again, if Maker collapses, if Ethereum drops below 80, and then, which it may drop below 80, and Maker doesn't collapse at all, it still holds its shit together. But if Maker has to do a governance shutdown, I still believe in this business model. It's just going to take 5 years instead of 2, right? So that's Safedine, but I love listening to him. And this guy, he's good. He did a podcast. I think it was on Pomp. Really, you know, great points, great economist. One of his points was how people, I don't want to get into it, but anyways, these guys are smart. But again, they're all like Ethereum going to zero. Although I don't know that he says Ethereum's going to zero, but there's this crowd. I love them. They do these Bitcoin carnivore dinners. In fact, this guy, Tony Vays, and I'm going to play this, and this gets a little sad. Him and Jimmy Song, they do this carnivorous dinner. I don't know that they're running it. They go, I mean, I would love to go to this. I'd love to go, and I love steak, okay? And, you know, but anyways, they're a little too cocky. I think they've, you know, if you've been through 3 Bitcoin bubbles and made so much fucking money, I think they're a little, so listen to this. Okay.
Probably. He said adding to the opinion, you know, Big Blue. Have I heard of Big Blue or True Blue? Which is it?
Hearing this?
Is it True Blue or is it Big Blue?
I don't know. I think
okay.
IBM.
I don't know if you heard that, but for me, it wasn't working. So I'm going to rewind it just in case you didn't hear it. Now the speakers were tuned in.
Probably. He said adding to the opinion, Big Blue. Have I heard of Big Blue or True Blue? Which is it? Is it True Blue or is it Big Blue?
I don't know. I think IBM used to be known as Big Blue because they were like the ultimate blue chip stock or something like that. I have no idea what the hell they're talking about, but
well, you might not know what they're talking about because they don't pay attention to anything but Bitcoin. And listen, Big Blue, oh boy, that's on my list here. We're going to talk about IBM. I mean, they're interesting. I mean, the stock hasn't done. I'm going to get to that. But this is interesting, actually. Now, listen, permissioned blockchains may have zero value. Maybe, okay? But I don't know. The jury's out still. And what IBM is trying to, you know, the idea with permissioned is that sort of the idea, and I've heard IBM talk about this with the container shipping supply chain. They're working with the largest supply chain shipping container company, Maersk. Trillions in expenses at this company. They're trying to move to a new computer system with this permission blockchain. Walmart is working with them with the food chain, supply chain. They need a new computer system. And the balance is, if it's centralized, they can just sort of build it and then bring people on and give up the power and let it go. The other direction is to just make it totally decentralized and try to get people to come on. At the beginning, you'll get more adoption because it's decentralized, but it's harder to develop the technology. So IBM's, what they're sort of trying to do is starts out centralized and then open it up. And they're talking about here how they are opening up. Is this going to work? Is this going to, is Maersk going to be able to shave off $200 billion in costs with this new computer system? I don't know. But this is interesting. These guys are laughing their asses off.
This is like...
But it sounds important. But it sounds
exactly
so
right. It's all about social signaling and like, okay, this person says that it's good, so therefore it is good.
It's not. I'm sorry. Even if it fails, it's still important, right? Walmart is trying to fix their supply chain. If they waste 2 years on this thing and it doesn't work, then that's, and listen, that's their point, is that it's all, and that's why they're laughing, because they know it's not going to work. But I don't know. Assuming that so many different companies with billions of dollars are all going to be wrong, and it could. It's happened before, but it's not that funny, guys.
It's not about like the merits of the technology at all. Oh God. Oh, this stuff pisses me off.
All right, this is great. Okay, so oh man, oh you said a word at the beginning, and I wanted to like transition with that word. I already forgot. Oh my God.
I mean, sad. But anyways, and let me just say two things here. First of all, I listen to Tony Vays frequently because I don't actually listen to his talks. I don't consider him an expert, but he is an expert at drawing charts. And I love this shit just to see where he does these things. So Bitcoin, charts do not tell you what's happening in the future. But it's interesting to see where it's come. The value of charts is that things do follow a pattern. And it's important to know where you are in the cycle. Like, for example, you see in the news, token down 40%. And I'll read it and go, well, in the past month and a half, it's up 1,000%. So it fell by 40% today. So it's not actually down. Right? So chartists are good at sort of comparing all these different time frames to determine whether in general it's down more than you usually see based on a pattern, and therefore it's a good idea to buy. But trying to chase that tail is redonkulous. You're best off spend your time, who's a winner, and hodl. Right? Hodl. Okay. And then Jimmy Song, I used to kind of follow him. But he debated Roger Ver on this cruise. It's ridiculous. And I don't think he did. I don't know. But the point is not that he didn't debate well. The point is, why would you debate Roger Ver? Guy's a moron. Like, why even waste your time? Like, don't you already know he's an idiot? And you're gonna beat him in a debate. Well, beat him. And meanwhile, as I've said, Bitcoin Cash going to zero. It's getting closer. At least warning you to get out of this death trap hasn't gone badly. Can't wait till it just is gone. But anyways, okay, and Baakt Delayed again, killing me. So Baakt, but it's not. Here's the thing. They said they made an article where they said, we delayed, and then this article should have been called We Delayed Again, but instead it's they raised money and we have all these wonderful things happening. Oh, by the way, we filed for applications and we're waiting for approval. And actually, I don't think this is bad, because here's the thing. Basically everything is done. This is how I read it, and I could be wrong here. Feel free to post in the comments if I am. But I think what's being said here, and by the way, never mind. What's being said here is that everything's done, but we're just waiting for official regulatory approval. But what I've also heard is that a company like Baakt has they're sort of part of New York Stock Exchange, ICE. What is it? The second biggest exchange in the world, or the biggest? I don't know. They are allowed to start doing business before final approvals are in. So they're said, clearing firms and customers have continued to join and work. In other words, it might be that it's already happening, but they're not allowed to talk about it or advertise it or say that it's open publicly or something because they don't have the approvals yet. So it might actually be moving along. I don't know, but just wanted to mention. What else? We did this. We did that. Oh, I was also going to mention back regarding, MakerDao. I got to tell you, first of all, don't get into it unless you really need a loan or it's or we know we're at the bottom. We're pretty sure we're at the bottom, and leave yourself cushion and never mind the risk of the whole thing. But I got to tell you, I did some. I put some collateral in and took it out, I did a loan and bought it back. Oh my God, it takes an entire day to fucking do it. You bring in your ether and then you gotta wrap it. Not to mention, I don't know how to do any of this. When it's easy, maybe the third time I do it all, it'll go a lot faster. But it's you wrap the ether and then you put it in as collateral and then you withdraw your DAI and then you gotta move your DAI. So then I wanted to buy Maker with my DAI and I gotta send this to this exchange. And I'm not buying a lot, but the volume is super slow in something like Maker, which also got me panicking with if we needed to liquidate Maker to bail out the system, there's no volume in Maker. So it takes a while to buy. I don't know what kind of numbers you are at, but literally, if you want to, it's whatever. You go look at it, but and making all those transactions, moving the money around, it literally takes a day. And I don't mean a day like you're sitting there all day. It's you move something and then it's going to take a minute and you got to take I don't know. It's quite a thing. Okay. Well, what was also exciting with the Bitcoin Ethereum battle went on. Deemster wrote a 30-point tweet thread about why Ethereum sucks. And I got to say, it's just, this is, again, I'm seeing a lot of Bitcoin maximalist hubris here, and again, last January, what did I say? I took down a bunch of videos because I'm focusing on, I'm changing everything because I'm focusing on teaching kids about money. I'm working on those courses and anyways, but I did make a video in January. Maybe I can find it if someone really cares. But anyways, I said last year, go into Bitcoin. I remember one of the things I said about Ethereum, oh, it's awesome, they got all these things coming, but I don't think, when are these things aren't going to launch this year, meaning last year. So I was concerned about the price of Ethereum, and I think I lowered it at that point to whatever it was. It was actually in January, I think, something like 15% for, no, I don't know. Anyways, but I said get into Bitcoin. And so the Bitcoin people have had, a few runs, parabolic moves in the fall, in the decline last year. Bitcoin killed everybody, right? Bitcoin gained market share all last year, which I said it would. These guys, this hubris, and I'm not saying, let's just say you're right, and Bitcoin is going to be the best in the next run, and forever, whatever. But Ethereum, you're too confident, my friends at Bitcoin. And this, so he made all these points. I don't even recommend reading it because it's just some of the stuff is old and proven wrong, and it's just not what he would have done better. I think if he had 10 things that were sort of new and he did a little more research, you could have had 10 things that sent people saying, oh, okay. But there was too much just crap in here that just, I don't know. But this got everybody talking, and a lot of Ethereum people came out in defense of Ethereum, and it was really interesting. There was a lot of good things to read. Again, if you go to my Twitter, let's do that. And you want to see who to follow. I follow some good, I follow Bitcoin Maximalist and I follow Ethereum. This is the guy who was doing the play-by-play on Maker, people getting liquidated on Maker. This guy's new. I'm not sure what his deal is. I added him. I like this guy. These two are super Ethereum smart guys, right? Don't forget about Vitalik. I'll talk about him in a minute at the end. But these guys got really into the whole rebuttal against Tur. So that was interesting. So, and I erased that Tur link. I hope, and I didn't save it. Ouch. Oh, God. It's hard to find too. Well, hopefully I got it somewhere. Okay. And another piece of good news. I mean, is it all good news? You'd think we're in the middle of a bull market here. The hash rate has started going up. So this is Bitcoin, the hash rate, and historically, let's just look at this. Let's look at this for all time with a logarithmic adjustment. Hash rate does not go down often. And I did some looking at this, and hash rate bottom, it's different at different times, but hash rate bottoming is a good sign for the market. And you can see here, we had there's not a lot of falls. It's usually flat. This one went down. The big 2014 one, hash rate never sort of went down, but it did, when it started going up again, is when price tends to go up. So I've been watching to see when this bottoms. Let's get rid of log. And, so hash rate has, it looks like in Bitcoin bottomed, around the big, and Ethereum too. Yeah, I don't know. Is it going to go down again? Like I said, calling a bottom is difficult. If you're dollar cost averaging in, you want to make one buy around here, right? Granted, I made it, I said maybe you should make a buy around before it crashed. Again, sorry, this is hash rate. When we had the bottom fell out, whatever it was, December. So anyways, hash rate is up, which for those who don't know, that's the amount of computer power used to secure the network. And we had a mining collapse people were talking about in Bitcoin. That was another big debate, death spiral in mining. Mining prices adjust. I don't want to get into that. Okay, let's keep going. Nathaniel Whitmore I wanted to mention while I'm mentioning Twitter people. Where is that guy? Must have a thing here. Here he is. If following this stuff, there's a lot. If you're going to read one thing a week, just one thing a week, read Nathaniel Whitmore's Sunday Long Reads Sunday. And in fact, today's Sunday. Is this it? Talk to me. He hasn't put it out yet. Where is this? Where are we? 22 now. No, he hasn't put out today's. He does a long reads Sunday. It's a Twitter long thread wrapping up all the things, pointing to the best articles and tweets of the week, informing us of what's going on in the Twitter sphere, in crypto land through Twitter. It's great. So if you're going to read one thing a week and want to stay in tune on Twitter, read this, but it gets deep and it links to a bunch of articles. You will see, remember I was talking about this thing, you'll see my articles and video fill up. Sometimes I don't read it on Sunday. I may read it on Monday or Tuesday, but usually I fill this up from Nathaniel's tweet is one of the places I get a lot of content to read and dig further. Okay, XLM. Let's talk about it. Again, so now for those of you who've been following me, I was talking about XLM when it was at 1.5 cents. And I'm in whatever 3 cents on this thing. It's down a lot to 12 cents. So from before October of last year, it's up 400%. So for those, and I get this a lot, especially from relatives. Oh my God, David, are you okay? Crypto is down. Are you okay? First of all, for those who I own a home, I own a business, I had stocks, and I got to tell you, thank God, part luck and part maybe I know what I'm doing. I sold almost all my stocks. spring last year. Thank you. Anyways, you know, I got Bitcoin at $350 and I got XLM at 3 cents. I'm okay. Surviving. Getting by. Thank you. But anyways, I have talked about lowering the XLM, you know, I mean, the story for this thing, if you listened to me before October and you had any, and it went from 3 cents to 60 cents, it became a huge part of your portfolio. And I was like, you know, we got to move into Bitcoin here. Sell some of it, reduce it to move into Bitcoin. And then I was looking for, so let's see where we are here. Now, on one of my other videos, I was saying, hey, you know, this Coinbase bounce. So the Coinbase bounce game is over. You know, I said it was, so here's and for those who don't know, well, it used to be, I mean, a year ago, all Coinbase had was Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Litecoin, you know, and then they added Bitcoin Cash. And when they added Bitcoin Cash, that was the high for Bitcoin Cash. It was like $3,000 something when the day it got listed on Bitcoin Cash. And since then it fell. Right? But people are like, oh, when it gets listed on Coinbase, it's going to go up a lot. So that's why it went to 3,000. And then they listed Ethereum Classic and it shot up. And then once it got listed, it started coming down. And then it started to be the pace that coins, everyone still is saying, oh, things go up when they get listed on Bitcoin. I mean, on Coinbase. So I want to buy it before it gets on Coinbase. And then once it gets listed on Coinbase, they sell it off and it goes down. So the whole thing of it goes up when it gets listed on Coinbase, the exact opposite was happening, which makes it not happen anymore. And now Coinbase has a lot of coins on it. So the whole buy it because it's going to be listed on Coinbase thing doesn't happen anymore. And by the way, the biggest exchange in the world is fucking Binance, not Coinbase. What is it called? CoinMarketCap.com. By the way, let me just, I hope I remember where to get back to. I'm going off notes here. So this is January last year. I said Bitcoin's gonna, no, that's 2 years ago. Never mind. Here, January last year. Oh, when the crash started, I'm sorry. So in January, from here, I said Bitcoin is going to regain, oh my God. So I'm here, this chart drives me, this thing that pops up. But anyways, Bitcoin's going to regain value. It had 33% market share, went up to 55. I thought, to be honest, I thought it would go higher. I thought we'd come up to here like 60. It's fallen off now. I think it holds steady because I think this has trouble. Other, I think, has problems. I think Ethereum's going up. I think other has trouble. Where was I going with this? Oh, so this website, coinmarketcap.com, by the way, is great. What am I doing? What am I looking for? I want to see the I want to see how big Coinbase is. Exchanges by adjusted volume. Okay, because they think these guys are cheating. Binance is the killer. That's why I put it in my list. I said we'll talk about that a little at the end. I love Binance. I don't know that you want to buy the token today. But anyways, here's their volume, 700,000. OKX, I don't know, but Binance is great, well run, and one of the biggest based on how you measure it. And let's find Coinbase. Oh my God. Coinbase Pro. You know, 1/7 its size. So let's all calm down about Coinbase. They're US regulated, okay? But there's other US regulated, and that's a whole nother topic. Let's get back to business. XLM. Where was I? Sorry, guys. Okay. So, a lot of things have happened. First of all, so Chain is a company, Stellar, bottom line is the Stellar network sort of started working, bought, there's a company Interstellar, which was, so there was a company, Chain, has a bunch of developers working with Visa and NASDAQ, and Stellar buys them. Awesome. Well, NASDAQ left Chain, and they're launching something on Ethereum. Oops. Visa, I don't know. And in their press release, they said, but I think Visa was working with Hyperledger and IBM. So that still could come around, right, to Stellar because they're with IBM, but they were sort of like, no, we're not working. They sort of seem to distance themselves from Chain, I felt like, in the press release, unless I'm thinking of NASDAQ mixing it up. But it's hard to get information here on what's going on, and I'm going to talk about that with IBM. In fact, let's talk about that now. So IBM, now IBM. Here's the bold story for IBM. I got this stock here somewhere in my little, IBM, this is the last year. I remember I made a video around here saying, hey, listen, they're doing all these things. I said, this could be a safe stock. I mean, safer than crypto. Probably went down less than crypto, right? But, we sort of, the bottom fell out. I was looking right for a little bit, and then, whoops, look out below. The problem with IBM, one thing is, listen, they got a lot going on more than whatever they're doing with either crypto, blockchain, and even just assisting banks. Now, I got so much to say, I don't know where to begin, but so first of all, some people say, now I'll talk about that in a minute. Okay, let's just get to the crypto. I could talk about IBM for a while. The bottom line is I'm a little concerned. I loved it here, but I don't like it when the price is down. I hate when that happens. But I'm not going to get into the stock. If people care, you let me know, and maybe I'll talk about it another time. All right, Jesse Lund, he's the guy who runs, I don't know exactly his title. Well, IBM and blockchain digital currencies. This guy's been a letdown for me. I'm a little concerned, and I think that, I'd like to get some answers. If anybody wants to tweet at him and let him know, come on, let me know what the fuck's going on. Tell him to skip to 1 hour, 20 minutes and listen, because this is important. He tries to be out there. He speaks. He did an AMA, like, hey, I'm going to answer any questions. He didn't answer my questions, or the ones I wanted to know. I got nothing from the AMA, right? I don't expect him to only answer me, but he went through very few questions. There's been no reply. I've asked some questions. I'll tell you what the questions are, and then I want to talk about. I tried to get in touch, and I want to tell you what happened. But first, let's talk about what we're talking about. All right. So there's two things. First of all, and I'm gonna come at him, sorry, and criticize, because they got WorldWire. I'm going to talk about that, but then that is possibly a lot more positive. Why? Oh, okay. So first of all, it was over a year ago that Jesse Lund said that a central bank will be launching its own digital currency soon. It was a year later that he said, yeah, I still think so. I'm optimistic, I think was his exact reply. Why is he optimistic? It's not happening. I do believe it happens. The reason I like XLM is at some point the central banks are going to realize they need to upgrade their systems, and I think they move to Stellar. But these guys are far from capitulating, the central banks that is, and even once they capitulate, they don't move that fast. It's going to take a while. I think they go into the arms of IBM and Stellar. But that ain't happening now, and it ain't happening soon. And so, Jesse, listen, it's fine. I'm just happy you had meetings with central bankers. I love it. But let's just be honest. Oops, I said soon. It's not soon, right? But he's silent. He's not saying anything or talking about it. Although he did say in his AMA, we've been focusing on WorldWire. That's why we haven't got to it. We're going to get to it soon. He's optimistic. Maybe he's just optimistic. Fine. But I don't see it happening. I think it happens eventually for a lot of reasons. That's a whole nother video. But I don't believe his soon. If he thinks it's soon still, he should talk about it. So WorldWire is IBM's international trade program where they use blockchain contracts with different countries, international trade, using the payment settlement on Stellar. And Well, that sounds awesome. That is, a great use case. This is what Stellar was built for. IBM is a great partner to implement this. So what's going on? I got to reload this thing. Uh-oh. Let's close it and reopen. It's been sitting there too long, I guess. Okay. So this is the volume on Stellar. Stellar.expert/explorer/public. So, here's the supply has been somewhat flat. There's 1% inflation in lumens that you can get if you're holding your lumen. I have a video about it, that Luminat. Anyways, and these are the account sign up. People say, people just create counts for phony. That doesn't matter. What really matters to me is this, the trades and payments. And so, it's up a lot year over year, obviously. In the past year, we're trending up, but it's not going straight up. I assume most of the volume here, or the volume that I'll care about, like this was probably, idiot traders buying and selling, which I don't care about. What I care about is international trade payment settlements with IBM's WorldWire system, because that's got room to grow if it's working. Is it working? Ask Jesse Lund. That's what you should tweet him. Dude, give us some numbers on WorldWire, the monthly volume, the expected volume, the history volume, what's the growth rate? What has the growth rate been? What's going on? Why won't they talk about it? So if they're not talking about it, either means, it's not going well and they don't want to say it, but I don't know, you can't be out there and then all of a sudden just don't talk to anybody. Or if it's doing well, maybe they don't want to talk about it. They're worried about competitors. Who's going to compete? Like, there's no... If IBM on Stellar is working, who could somebody could, but I think it's more valuable that they talk about it. So this concerns me. No news from me is bad news, because I think the only reason to not talk about it is that they're having trouble or they're delayed. But still, just be open about it. Ask Jesse Lund what's going on with WorldWire and share me the answer. And tell him, he can go to 126 in the video if he wants more info. So, and by the way, when Stellar took off in October 2017, it was because they announced working with IBM to implement this. In October of 2018, they announced WorldWire as if they just launched it, even though they had started on it the year before. And so year 3, they take a long-term view, and this thing may keep growing. The thing about it, I'm not as worried about growth rate as I am about it working. Because if it's working, it's got a long runway. If the growth rate, like MakerDao, for these brand new things, sometimes you want to see this growth rate that's off the charts. But with big, huge corporations like IBM and international trade partners, you're not going to grow 300% a month, like Maker. But you can keep growing for a long time if it's a winner. So that's what I want to see. So again, with the pricing on XLM, I've been reducing the amount that I recommend in the portfolio. And I was talking about the run-up. Where are we here? Let's shrink this. No, not there. Wait a second. Yeah, no, it's here. Oh, I know. You know what? I look at XLM in price of Bitcoin or Ethereum, because I don't go back to dollars. I have dollars, sold all my stocks. I got plenty of dollars right now. So my crypto stays crypto. The only thing I would change is adjusting the portfolio. So if I'm going to have less XLM, I would use it to trade into Bitcoin or Ethereum. So I've been talking about this when I was talking. This is the Coinbase run. And this was in a very down market, right? This was, no. Okay, let's go further. I can't remember when. Yes, I'm sorry. I was too short. It was here. I think this whole run here was based on listing on Coinbase soon. And so in November, I'm like, well, the peak is when it gets listed on Coinbase, right? So I was like, this is a good time to trade into Bitcoin. This is a good time, but it's going to keep getting better because I haven't even listed it yet. And hopefully, you know, if you were trying to do that, you were dollar cost averaging, because sometimes you're wrong, right? And on this day, and it's up so much, that's a good day. And not only that, look at this historically. Against Bitcoin for a whole year, you know, this is the bubble here. You know, we were very high historically, Lumen's price against Bitcoin. But then the bottom fell out. I don't know if this thing comes back anytime soon. So if you wanted to lower your position, this was the time to do it. I mean, listen, we're sitting at this floor here. I would be worried because I think in the next parabolic move up, if Ethereum has bottomed, the last rally was fueled by Ethereum. I think this one's fueled by Ethereum too, but the last rally fueled by Ethereum helped Bitcoin make a huge run as well. And Stellar follows, but not at first. So this could be trouble. And looking against Ethereum, also was at a high. It's come down to almost its trend. You know, too bad I didn't like Ethereum when it was here, right? Although, if any trades, is that the same date? November 20. It peaked against Ethereum. And November 17. Okay, so they were on the same track. So if you traded XLM into Bitcoin or Ethereum through mid-December, November, you got a good price. Now, you're stuck. Now your portfolio might be 15% because it fell so much, right? Instead of whatever. Okay. So where were we? Okay. And so back to, you know, Jesse Lund, and I was trying to contact him. He did the AMA, and I think I did something, and it was like this IBM blockchain got back to me. Let's see here. There it is. You know, they contacted me. Oh, okay, and they did it by email. They contacted me to say, hey, we can get answers for you. And I was like, fabulous. I'm going to see if I can find this email. 1 second. So I said, hey, should I share this? How do we do that? Let's move that here. Oops. Okay, so I said, hey, I wanted to get some, can I answer these questions or come on my YouTube? Here's my 4 questions. I don't remember. You know, if you're interested, hit pause and read it, right? Okay, actually, let me let it sit for 1 second for those who want to read. Hit pause. Check it out. Okay, so I wanted these questions. Great. They said, I received your info. You know, your channel's on our radar. We'd love to collaborate. Let me talk to my team. Thank you. You know, because it's not like I'm one of the biggest XLM bulls last year. You know, it's not like they should be afraid of me, right? Anyways, show you a quick update. My primary contact for Jesse has been sick. Okay. You know, I'm like, hey, here's the times. I'm like, basically, I'm just like, listen, anytime you want to talk to me, I'll pick up the phone. You know, sorry for wasting your time, but there's been some internal guideline changes. We've put a hold on all blockchain social media interviews for this foreseeable future. In other words, we don't want to talk to anybody anymore. Maybe we can collaborate in the future. Poor guy. You know, he's doing his best here, but it's a tough... I'm going to email him to watch this. You know, and I don't mean, you know, it's like, oh, I'm going to email him to watch this, and I'm sort of talking shit and throwing him under the bus. But at the same time, listen, you got to, don't put out a social media. It's social media. It's not media. It's social media. So, and if you're like, hey, we want to talk, I wouldn't have bothered to write these questions, and I appreciate in the new world order here with social media that I have access to ask people questions. And some people get back to me. This Safadina Mos, I interviewed him for an hour. It's fabulous. And people are out there. And that I even have the opportunity to write questions and imagine that someone would get back to me. And if you can't get back to me, you can't. But listen, don't have a social media channel if you don't want people saying, hey, why won't you talk to me? Right? Or just tell me. I mean, I guess they said we don't want to talk to anybody, and now I'm calling them out on it. I don't know. If this makes me a dick, put it in the comments. I do listen. Sometimes I do piss people off, and then I feel bad. Jesse's actually super active on social media. He does tweets all the time. Really? No. I've tried to... Where is Jess? Here it is. And if I haven't tried enough or he didn't get my... Listen, I love these people. I met Jesse Lund. He was speaking at an event. I came with a list of questions, and he talked to me for... I don't know. It's probably 20 minutes. Answered all my questions. Some of the stuff he was wrong about the central bank being soon, but I appreciate it. So he's there, and he may be busy, and I understand. You don't want to waste your time with me. But like I said, I'm doing my best to get some answers. But I wouldn't say he's that active on social media. I mean, December 21, December 18, which is just like news. Let's see. Socks. Increasing norm until retail. Yeah, but I've commented on things and he doesn't reply. I've asked questions and comments on things. I don't feel like I've gotten the love I would like. Okay, that's all. Okay, XRP Army. Okay. XRP Army. You're a bunch of morons. God, help me. Really? And what's funny, people think the XRP Army are bots. I don't think they are. I think it's really, there's this many idiots in the world. Now, here's the thing. I don't hate XRP. This is Ripple. Ripple's token. That's never been one I say is going to zero. They may solve some real problems in the world and may grow and may be great. The token may keep, it's done pretty good. Not against it. What I am against is idiots thinking that posting an off-topic comment that XRP is the best, A, adds any value to the thing they're commenting on, and B, that it makes the token go up. If you post, if you post a video talking about, Bitcoin scaling, there'll be one or two post comments that says XRP is the dream token. Check it out here. Like, really? You're not on topic, and why? And that the comments are stupid. These people, and they have this huge group, and maybe it is bots. But a lot of times, when I've interacted with these idiots, they get mad. They're like, no, they reply. People just off topic talking about XRP. And I'm like, you are such a fucking moron. And they reply. So that's not a bot. Now, maybe that's just my channel. I don't know. But I think it's not a bot. They really are that many idiots. And you know who you are. And again, nothing wrong with loving XRP. Make a video about it. Or if someone's talking about it, you comment. But you comment by adding value. You don't just say, pump the coin. I got news for you. And I have news for you. No matter what you say on your YouTube channel, I don't even care how big your channel is, you are not going to move the market. Your comment will not move the market. Even your video, I don't care how many thousands of views you get. You're not moving any markets, you idiot. Hour 38. I guess I'm gonna go to 2 hours here. My God, more to go. I'll start going through quickly here. Ethereum killers, forget about it. Forget about it. It's not happening. I got two. Cardano, Lord help me, Cardano. Now, this is one that I do say is going to zero. One of the things against Cardano is it's not decentralized, and I'm just like, if it's decentralized, then there's a big adoption rate. I would pay attention. Still not decentralized, and the next phase. It's always next. Decentralizing is always next. It's been well over a year and a half, and decentralization has been coming next. It's not a decentralized platform. I don't care about it. These guys are all too smart for themselves. It's a fucking joke show. Now, you know what? Again, there I go, being mean. They're smart people. Charles Hodgkinson is smarter than I will ever be. And yes, I've listened to him for a few hours. Took notes, made videos years ago. Months ago. Cardano, I'm sorry. It's just not happening. Too slow, far behind Ethereum. I got videos on it, but it's still silly. And EOS. So EOS, listen, it's a toy. Gaming, pyramid, gambling, all that stuff, great. It's a dice game, right? Whatever, And that may make a lot of money. That can do something, and maybe they all make money. But it's not really decentralized. It's not safe. No one's going to build MakerDao. Like people talk, what if MakerDao leaves Ethereum? Well, I don't know. Maybe they go to Bitcoin, which is, I don't know, that would be in 10 years. Maybe they go to, there's some other platform. They're not going to EOS. There's no trust. It's not trustless. So it's just not, I don't know what happens to it. They might make money just based on all these silly games they do. But they're not beating Ethereum, right? What is this? I don't know what this is. Oh, second layer solutions coming. Just that there's a lot of second layer solutions coming on Ethereum. The scaling is happening. It's going to take a while. There may be delays, but it's coming and it's good stuff. What else? Proof of stake. We talked about that. Oh my God, I'm almost done. And second layer solutions. So you got Plasma. You've got, this is a whole big article. I don't know if you know this is a good one. I was looking for someone that listed all Ethereum second layer solutions. Couldn't find anything, just simple with a 1-minute search. But there's Plasma and Raiden. And then there's other things like, so you have Augur, which is a betting platform. And then people are building apps on top of it to make it easy to interact with, right? But, and so is that a second layer solution? I don't know, maybe it is. And there's so much going on where basically on Ethereum, there's a lot being built where a lot of stuff happens. Loom is another one. I'm curious if they have anything new. Where not everything is done on chain. Some stuff, that's not it. Not everything is done on chain. A lot of building is done on some other layer. This is EOS on Ethereum, right? It's not actually EOS, but that's sort of their thing. They're a distributed proof of stake with voting. By the way, I don't believe in any of these platforms that include voting. I don't think it's going to work. It might work, or there'll be some version that someone will figure out how to make it work, but not right now. I would not bet on anything with voting. Do you know why? I know how many. A lot of people out there who own tokens are not the sharpest tools in the shed. You don't want them voting other than as a signal what people are thinking. Like, there's some value. But if that's what you think is going to run the upgrades, I'd rather have Vitalik Buterin determining what the upgrade, or leading the charge. He doesn't run Ethereum, but he's a great leader, right? In fact, Vitalik, what also is great, I got to say, when you hear his name and you look at him, he looks like an alien. You think, I'm too scared to listen to this guy. Probably can't understand a word. He does a very good job of breaking things down relatively simply so you can understand. I would watch Vitalik Buterin videos anytime he talks. And another thing, if you see an article, Vitalik Buterin said, you read the article, great. But try to find a video or a recording of when he actually said it and listen to him. He speaks clearer than any of these journalists. he breaks stuff down relatively simply. I like listening to him. Okay, last thing I got here is these tokens. Others, right? Storj. They did the up. This is. I'm just going to go through what these are and what the bull bear case is. Okay. Storj is decentralized storage. They are going after Amazon. The idea is Amazon needs to build data centers and has security risks. Storj will that your data is safer, and they're going to spread shards on people's free computer space of just computers around the world. They won't have a data center. They'll just have 2 gigs from this guy and 3 gigs from that guy and maybe 100 gigs from that guy or whatever the numbers are. Fast growth rate, long runway if they have a better long-term business model than AWS. Take them a long time to catch up to AWS, but right now they're charging 50% of the price and you get better security. So, but the price is in the doldrums. This thing doesn't lead the bull market, right? If everything starts going up, the winners, the ones that are growing, will come up with it. By the way, Storj does its monthly payments. So that's a storage company, and it may be interesting to have equity in that business. They just use their token to do payments. So they can pay 150,000 people a month, and they do it by sending out their token. And they have, so Storj is an ERC20, it's an Ethereum token, and they're trying to use Raiden, I think they're building to improve their payment system. So it's a use case even for Ethereum, but it's, I'm not sure about the value of the token, even if, in other words, maybe that becomes an awesome storage thing, but it's just a payment token. Like, long story, I don't want to get too into it, but Storj could be great, and the token, whatever. But I think they're going to keep, basically, the supply of storage stays constant. If they have a lot more business in their hosting business continues to grow rapidly, there'll be more payments, more uses of the storage token. Without them increasing supply, the value goes up. Maker, we've talked about, that is the central bank of the Maker system. If that whole thing collapses, Maker is sold to bail out the system. If that happens, you're in trouble with your Maker, right? It's this thing. If they need to rescue the system right now, this price is going to go to 0 in a hurry. And I don't actually mean 0, because some people they will relaunch and do it again, and hopefully next time don't have this problem. But if we don't have to have doesn't have a shutdown, and the next bubble starts, this thing, is basically, if you believe in Maker, this might be a good one. Study it, okay? OMG. I think that it's real what they're doing. Like, it's really smart people, and I think there's a chance that they build something awesome. As I started saying a year ago, when? Like, will I be alive when they finish whatever the hell they're doing? And I see a lot of risks. I'm just holding what I already bought because whatever, like, it's not worth much. And hey, it may come around 10 years from now. I'm like, glad I didn't sell that one, right? But they're trying to build an exchange, and then they got to get volume on this exchange, and then they use that to integrate payment systems. And they have a real payment platform now that has McDonald's as one of its customers. But when is McDonald's going to be able to use it? I don't know. They move. It feels like they move slow as molasses. And when I listen to them talk, they don't sound like they have a fire under their ass. So I'm concerned that by the time they launch, they're irrelevant. But it's an awesome team. They're doing something interesting. It's hard to see exactly where it's going, and maybe something amazing does happen. Binance. Binance is my favorite exchange. It's I think right now, depending on what metric you use, I say it's the biggest exchange in the world and will continue to grow faster than the others. Their business plan is, we don't give a shit about the U.S. Fuck the regulations in the U.S. It's too much work. We're going to, just try to understand. They go into an individual country, try to understand those regulations and obey, and they're just focusing on the whole rest of the world instead of the U.S. Like, the amount of time you have to spend complying with regulations in the US is probably equal to the amount of time you spend complying with regulations in the rest of the world, right? So they're just like, we want the rest of the world. They're growing. The CZ who runs it, this guy's a winner. Like I said, the reason I picked XML at the beginning, Stellar, was like, this is Jed McCaleb, he's a winner. CZ, running Binance, winner. Listen to him, he's on one of those podcasts I mentioned. Which one was he? He did an interview. I think it was Laura Shin, who I think is unconfirmed. I don't know. But listen to CZ, owner of Binance Talk. Very interesting. Travis Kling in that other video podcast on Pomp talks about it. Binance as well. And basically, the token gets burned based on a percentage of profits from the company. Now, one risk is, that sort of sounds like the definition of a security. And if the government comes after them, now they're saying, well, we're not trying to sell to the U.S., but U.S. people may buy. I don't know. But, they're avoiding regulation if the government starts coming at them hard, which I don't think is going to happen right now. But who knows? Could all of a sudden tomorrow, front page news, Binance under attack by U.S. government. I don't know. I don't think they do that right now. It's just not going to look good. But anyways, it's a long-term risk, I guess. And then also they're trying to build a lot of use cases for the token. So, the profits reduce supply, and there's use cases which use it as a store of value. And the guy running it's fucking smart, and he's a big experimenter. He's like a Tai Lopez, right? He's launching things all over the place, nonstop, and seeing what works and moving on the fly. This thing. But look at the chart, and this is funny. And this might be, this could be a good sign for Binance, or maybe it's a sign that, well, this thing is just a bubble. I'm just falling. Well, okay, this is over a year against Bitcoin. It's up. Let's look at it. I don't think you can't get it in USD, right? Because they're trying to stay away from USD. But against Bitcoin, it outperformed Bitcoin. It wasn't, we talk about in this fall, the safe place to run was Bitcoin. Binance Coin, if, is this January, if it was at 0.00, at point, whatever, 2010, now it's at 15, it's up 50%. Against Bitcoin this year, right? This is a one-year chart. So, and that's another point just regarding these tokens. Storj way down, probably down 90% and sitting like a rock. Well, are we talking dollar? Let's just quickly look at these. So Binance, I think, is the only one. Binance, and I think Maker too is up. Let's see. I haven't looked at all this. So Maker against Bitcoin 1 year. Well, this is probably just noise. So it looks flat, but it's got all that noise there. So let's say 0.8. Maker, it's hard to see from this chart. Actually, what I can do is this. Let's say it was at 11. Let's say it's at 10, and now it's at 12. Okay, Maker up 20% against Bitcoin. But look at Storj. Now Storj had to literally close to new customers. They were closed for a number of months to new customers. Kept the old customers going, so that they could rebuild and relaunch because they couldn't handle the volume. So that's good news in a way, long run. Short run, that contributed to their problems. But Storj price, you can see here, from 15 to 5, down whatever that is, 66% against Bitcoin, right? Bitcoin's down how much percent? And Storj down even more against it. OMG is probably an equally painful story. So OMG, I'll add 15 down to 3 or 4. So, below 4. So this also painful destruction. Maker, we did that. Okay, another one that I might like. I haven't researched this far enough. Again, there was another podcast on my list here. I can't remember which one. talk to the founder of NMR. Where's my chart? That's not it. That is the chart. I'm going to type in. We're looking for NMR. This is really interesting. Hard to understand. This is one of these things I'm going to need to read 10 times or study before I can really understand it. But basically, they're creating people submit data that an AI program analyzes and then determines if it's useful or something. And they're trying to get people to submit the data, and there's this whole thing, and the data is anonymous, and like, but they had a problem with spam and you win tokens if you submit. No, coming up with algorithms. I can't remember. People are submitting. No, it's not data. They provide data, and people create algorithms that draw inferences out of the data, and the best algorithms created win tokens. That may be wrong. Again, in comments, feel free to correct me. I know, you're really stupid, can't believe you don't know this, blah, blah, blah. And then why don't you explain it to the rest of us? Thank you. But anyways, you submit it, but they got a lot of spam. People were like, well, I'll just submit 1,000 algorithms and one of them will win. So what they started doing was you stake your NMR token on the algorithms, and if you win, it's something based on the more you stake. And so by making them stake tokens with their algorithm, and it might not even be an algorithm, it's something else, whatever it is, they're staking the NMR, and then they make more money based on what they stake, and this eliminated the spam. And I think it's growing. Again, I need to research, but this thing's in the doldrums, right? From 3 to below 1. This is almost like Storj, right? Just way off. This is compared to Bitcoin, right? So it's declined 60% against Bitcoin or more, whatever the math is there. And Bitcoin has declined, right? 70% against the dollar. So you're in the toilet if you got this thing at the beginning of last year. But if the winners will bottom. Is this a winner? I think it might be. I need to study it more. Last one. Possible winner, Kyber. Now this one, I bet this one also. Ooh, that's 1 day. Sorry. Okay, similar chart. So Kyber, this was one, and I don't remember the exact date, but a year ago, I remember I put them in one of my videos. I said, "What the fuck is this?" It's some kid. He looks like he's 20. Him and his buddies, they're making something, and I'm like, I don't even know what the fuck they're talking about. Nothing's launched yet, and all this. But people are like, oh, these guys are really smart. I'm like, oh, whatever. And they've never done it. And I like to look at track record. They're really smart. This is the first thing they've ever done. Well, turns out I think they are pretty smart. They've launched things. I need to research. They're doing, whenever I see them mention what Kyber's doing, I'm like, what the fuck are they doing? Like, I can't. It's another one. Hard to wrap your head around. But it looks like it's for real. It looks like they're going to be around. They're working on the wrapping Bitcoin. Like I saw in an article. Like I keep seeing their name come up recently. They're doing cool things, but I don't know what the hell they're doing, to be honest with you. Maybe if it's a winner, if it's going to grow, then this chart bottoms, and then we're going up. So there you have it. Wow, 3 minutes and it's full 2 hours, and I'll just end it on this note, which is, I'm not doing this full time. I follow this stuff for fun, and every once in a while, you can see I was bubbling over with 2 hours. I usually do 20-minute videos, so this is like 6 videos. I did almost a month's worth of videos in 1 day. Hope you've enjoyed it. Let me know. But I'm working on helping kids. Maybe I'll show you. Helping kids learn about money. So I took, well, just to let you know here, I had one book. Not as a book. What I'm trying to do is make a course to teach kids about money. And I had so much stuff that I had to take it and put it in book 2, which this is going to be all about investing. And now I think I got to go one step further. I thought I was sort of done with the class, but I realized this book too, I think this needs to be split up into 2. I think I'm going to have 3 courses. How to invest, which I think you do last. How the economy works, which I don't know when you do, but I don't like the idea of investing. Learn how to make money and save it before you start investing. But anyways, and then this, I think I break this one. I thought I was done, and now I'm like, you know what? I think I'm going to have one, how to create income streams or start a business, something like that, and take out all the stuff in here, which is how money and the economy works. My goal is to get some sort of a course done that seems good and teach a small group here in Playa Vista, edit the book based on that, or edit the course based on that, teach another group, edit again, and then we go for distribution. If you want to help out, contact me, davelevine.com. I'm updating that page shortly. I just made a video telling you what I just said. That's what I'm trying to spend most of my time on, but this crypto stuff, I can't help myself in following it, and I love it. So I will follow it. I'm just not going to make videos every day. I don't know how often, and maybe when I do, it'll be a 2-hour video like this, and I'm going to make it right exactly 2 hours. Go.